Hey, it's Jordan, and I looked back at some of my old videos that I posted recently and realized that the lighting is worse than I thought, and that I've been stabilizing my videos, which is why they've been doing that weird shifty thing, which is especially a problem because I move around a lot, so I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. It looked really bad, and I'm sorry, so I finally, stopped filming my videos after 5 o'clock, so it's light out, and I have natural lighting, so hopefully my face won't be totally washed out in shadow. Okay, also Liam's back, that's great. I wasn't sure when any of the admins are going to be coming back or if they would be. So it's great to see that someone else is back on the channel as well with me. So right now, I just want to talk about being LGBT and religious. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but I was raised Catholic as a kid and still practice Catholicism and all the stuff that goes with it. And I'm actually, my siblings say I'm one of the most religious out of all of us. So I'm a fairly religious person, despite having I don't want to say despite, because you can obviously be LGBT and religious. But a lot of people, like friends I know specifically, have been raised Christian or with a certain religion, and then when they realize that they are in the LGBT community, they kind of break away from religion, and that's fine. But it tends to be just a thing a lot of people do, and so it's a little different because people think I have huge conflicts with being trans and being Catholic. That's not really the case. I mean, a little bit. It just kind of depends. Because there are some people at my church who do believe that to be queer is wrong and that it's just not a good thing to do or something. But there's also a good amount of people I know that go to my church that are totally open to the idea, and I know other kids in my church that are queer, and actually, do I? I don't know. They might have broken away from religion as well. Anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this because my friend Kai actually started his own YouTube channel, and he brought up LGBT and religion, and I thought it was a really interesting topic, and it was something I just wanted to discuss as someone who is queer and Catholic. I just don't see the conflict of being trans or even your sexuality being different and also being religious. I mean, people like to make the argument that it says in the Bible that it's not correct, but I mean, one, that was a mistranslation, and two, Jesus obviously didn't care that much. So if you go based off that, then it's pretty evident that Jesus didn't condemn gays or whatever you want to say. I mean, I don't really see much conflict in it. I mean, there's never anything said about trans people. It's not a sin to be trans. It's not a sin to be, gay or bi or any of the plethora of sexualities out there, because if I name them all, it would be an hour-long video. My videos are already really long. So, I don't really face conflicts with being Catholic and being part of the LGBT community, generally, just because I don't know, I just don't see the conflict in it, so I don't understand why it's such a big deal to other people that I'm still practicing this religion. And I don't see why people who practice this religion see it as such a big deal when people are queer. People just are, and people celebrate their different religions, and people express their different sexualities and genders. And so, I mean, you can have any combination of it. It really just, I don't really understand why there's such a huge conflict in it. I mean, I've been taking this class at my church that explains, the Catholic Church's views on sex and all that, so it explains, why we believe in, abstinence before marriage and all that, and chastity, and why that's valued so much. And it does talk about why, gay couples aren't allowed to get married in the Catholic Church, but it has nothing to do with stuff in the Bible about it being wrong to be gay. It's stuff to do with the fact that they can't produce children, which is starting to actually be a thing. So who knows? I mean, It's, I just can't even, the fact that some people get so upset about it is kind of ridiculous. Like, this guy one time asked me, like, I don't even remember what he said. He was very rude about it, I feel. And he said, so what's it like being like a contradiction to your own religion? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, because you're trans. And I was like, okay, but that's not how this works. Yeah, I mean, I don't really face much conflict with that. I mean, like, I'm not out to a lot of people in my church, but I am out to my parents, and my parents are some of the most religious people I know, and, like, my mom is actually surprisingly accepting of the fact that I identify as non-binary and am non-binary, because she says she understands that I feel a disconnect from, like, male and female and all that, and she's actually very accepting of it, and she's very cool about it. Her main problem is, like, the whole sexuality thing, but she doesn't really have to worry about it right now for me. Whatever. My dad is the one who's more unaccepting, but it's nothing to do with religion. My dad just doesn't understand the concept and therefore refuses to accept the concept. So, I mean, the religion doesn't really factor into my gender at all. I mean, like, I just happen to be a Catholic practicing non-binary person, and it just works out that way. I know some people do tend to break away from their religion that they've been raised into as kids when they discover that they're queer, but it's not just that. I mean, people break away for all sorts of reasons. And that's fine. I'm not gonna judge you for doing you. But if you do enjoy your religion and feel that you wish to keep practicing like I did, you don't have to break away from your religion just because you found out uh, you were gay or bi or pan or trans. Just, religion doesn't really have a huge standpoint. Or at least Catholicism doesn't, and most Christian religions. Some, I think other religions actually might be. I can't say for sure. I know from a Christian point of view, I mean, it's just really just up to you. If you decide that religion just isn't for you and your sexuality or your gender doesn't factor in, you just happen to be so, fine. If you decide that you do want to break away from religion because you're queer, okay, do you. If you decide you want to stick with it like I did, awesome, okay. I just want to say, I think the main point I was getting at is don't be like that guy who asked me if I'm a contradiction to my religion. Just let people practice their religion and be their gender and all that, and the world will be a happier, better place for everyone involved. I think. Homophobes. Okay. Last point I wanted to make in the video, I promise. I mentioned my friend Kai earlier. Yeah, he's got a really interesting channel. He talks about, like, being trans, coming out during the holidays, LGBT and religion, which is really, and I enjoyed that video a lot, and I think I was mentioned in it, but he didn't name any names, I don't know for sure. And, like, he recently made a video with him and his boyfriend, and they're adorable, and I need to meet his boyfriend sometime. But Kai's a great guy, and I think you'll really enjoy his channel, because he's just a sweetheart, and he makes really interesting, relevant content. And he updates more frequently than I do. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.